Hey, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Ash here, coming to you guys on the live stream. Just want to say what's up. You know what I mean? So, as many of you guys know, LeBron James was right now a free agent, and he announced that he will not be going back to the Los Angeles Lakers. So his time in LA is done. This will be his, I'd want to say his 24th NBA season. Let's see here. He got drafted in 03. And then, yeah, starting, yeah, it's going to be the 2026, 2027 season. So, yeah, 24th season for LeBron James. And this is once again another, seems like every 4 to 8 years, he's always having to come to a decision, and it always seems like it's every World Cup. By the way, fuck the rest of this World Cup, this fucking corrupted fucking tournament and whatnot, man. I don't even want to get into it, man. Just beyond ridiculous. Like, honestly, it's a joke. It's absolutely a joke. Um, like, it was just inevitable with that fucking picture of fucking Yamal and as a baby and Messi and whatnot. Like, I don't even want to get into it. It's honestly disgusting and honestly just like fucking, like, it's just stupid, right? I don't even want to talk about it. So yeah, let's go. Let's go over and shift over to a better sport in basketball because that is ultimately a better sport. But like I said, it seems like every 4 years, LeBron always comes to a decision. 2010 goes to Miami, 2014 going back to Cleveland, 2018 going to the Lakers, and then it's always the World Cups that are happening in the summertime. Because remember, the last World Cup before this World Cup was in the wintertime because it gets really hot over there in Qatar, and it would just make the matches unplayable and whatnot. So here we are, 2026, and we're hearing. I thought by now he would have been back to Cleveland. I thought for sure. Finish where you started in Cleveland. Cleveland's got a really good team. Remember, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But yeah, apparently him and Rich Paul, they're ultimately going to come up to a decision. And honestly, as much as I love LeBron, and appreciate his greatness and whatnot, and I've always I grew up watching LeBron and appreciating his greatness and grateful to have seen him, have a lot of success with the Heat and just seeing him his whole career. And not only is he the best player of the century, but he might be the greatest player of all time. I don't even think that's a hot take anymore. It used to be a hot take back in the day. Nowadays, it's is that really a hot take? You know what I mean? I think more so a hot take nowadays is is fucking is if fucking Mahomes is still the best quarterback in football right now. You know what I mean? Because he's been on a decline the last 2 to 3 years, but Chiefs fans don't want to admit it. I don't know. I just thought of that just now, just thinking to myself, what's a hot take nowadays? Because yeah, that's not even a hot take. That's actually the correct take. I think more of a correct take nowadays when it comes to Mahomes is he even still an elite quarterback? For the last 2 to 3 years, he's been good, but not elite. But anyways, we're talking basketball, not football, Yeah, and I'm also just pretty tired and whatnot too. I kind of unplanned this. This was kind of unscripted. I was just all right, well, I'm just gonna say whatever is on my mind about the whole LeBron decision and whatnot and go on with that. Anyways, enough of my rambling Raider and whatnot. But so I thought it was gonna be Cleveland at first, finish where he started, and the team, has been on the come up the last couple of years, you know what I mean? They just traded for James Harden, they went to the conference finals. But now all of a sudden we're hearing Philly, especially with the Jaylen Brown trade, which I still have no idea how that trade went down, how Boston even allowed that trade to happen, but whatever. Then you're hearing Golden State. Obviously he loves Curry, Steve Kerr, and Draymond has a lot of love for that whole Warriors organization. Then you're hearing, maybe, back to Miami now that they got Giannis and whatnot. And today I want to talk a little bit about where I think his best fit is and where I would rank, from worst, because I believe those are ultimately the last 4 teams. You know what I mean? I am hearing Wolves are still kind of a team on the outside looking in that could be a possibility, but you haven't really heard too much of it. I think it's unrealistic that he's going to go to the Nuggets or any other team and whatnot. So ultimately, the last 4 teams that are in this decision are going to be the Sixers, Cavs, Heat, or Warriors. And I'm going to rank to you the teams from worst to first on worst situation to the best situation to where it's okay, he can definitely win a championship there. Because obviously, LeBron, he still wants to play. He knows what kind of, he knows what kind of player he is and what kind of, what he brings to the table when it comes to like, his ticket sales and whatnot, and just like, growing the game of basketball and whatnot. Obviously Jordan made that game global. LeBron also pivoted the way by making that game like worldwide. Like I think you're seeing a lot of the international superstars, like the Luka Don, like say all you want, like Jordan popularized this game globally, but I think LeBron influenced a lot of the players to want to play and whatnot, like the Luka Doncic of the world, the Giannis Antetokounmpos of the world, the Nikola Jokic's of the world. These are all like global, international icon, superstar basketball players, and a lot of them spoke highly of LeBron. And he's just continuing time and time and time again to grow the game and whatnot. So yeah, like it's, yeah. And I mean, he's still playing at a pretty like high level. Like, I don't want to say he's like playing like he's obviously, he's no longer like the LeBron James that we knew and loved, that like was like the best player in the NBA and like dominated from like the late 2000s all the way to like the end of the 2010s, even early 20s and whatnot. But he still can make an impact. We all saw it in the Rocket series, even without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves for the majority of that series. He could still play very well. He could still make an impact on a team. And if you're like a piece or two away, why not bring a guy like LeBron James, especially on a discount, to try to go at it and make a championship run? So let me go ahead and rank some of the teams. Sadly, I have to start off with the Golden State Warriors as being the worst team. It's just a fact. Like, the Golden State Warriors are just kind of a mess right now. We could talk all we want about injuries, like Curry missed some time and whatnot, but then Butler as well. He's coming up with torn ACL. We don't know if he's going to, still be the same player or whatnot. You still got Draymond Green, cool, great and whatnot, but he's also getting up there with age. For some odd reason, we brought back Al Horford. Like, it would just be, for me, as far as like the most entertaining one, I want to say it's the Golden State Warriors. Like, if you're a basketball fan, you would just love the idea of LeBron James and Stephen Curry, like they did in the Olympics, like teaming up. The problem is that like this isn't like, them playing on the USA basketball team and like also having Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and, all these other players and whatnot on the USA basketball team, Anthony Edwards, Bet Booker and whatnot. Like, you got a lot of guys on that team currently on the Golden State Warriors that, despite the fact that they still got Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, Steve Kerr and whatnot, and Jimmy Butler, like they have that like championship pedigree DNA. It would just be the unction, Golden State Warriors. You know what I mean? It would literally be the Golden State Warriors, and it would just, I don't know, man. I just don't think, like, I wouldn't really think too much of it. Like, they would be a play-in team. Maybe they might be a top 6 seed, but they would be probably a first round exit, maybe a second round exit. That might be their peak. It's a second round exit, but most likely a play-in team or a first round exit. I hate saying it, because I would love to see LeBron and Curry on the same team. If they do, you bet your ass I'm going to go to a couple games or so next year. Oh, that's for sure. Like, I've already seen LeBron in person, but to see him in a Warriors jersey, to team up with Stephen Curry, like, the thought of that is just like, how could you not be entertained by that? But as far as championship level experience, like, they don't really have that much of a youth movement going on there. Like, you got Pranic Podziemski, but like, he's hella inconsistent. Gary Payton, he's good. He's all right, but like, he's more so of a defensive specialist and he's a bench player and whatnot. And then you got this Yaxel kid, I'm looking forward to seeing what he has on the table. But yeah, man, Guy Santos, he's all right. You know what I mean? But again, it's just, there's really not much to offer other than you'd be living in the Bay. You know what I mean? You get to play with Stephen Curry and whatnot. And yeah, like, there's really not much to offer other than, and you get to be a team up with your boy Draymond, but there's really not much to offer. So that would be, out of the 4 teams that are still left in contention, the most attractive spot, the least attractive spot of him joining the Golden State Warriors, the Olden State Warriors, if that's the case, if he joins them. Then my next team, I was kind of going back and forth on this. Like, I was really going back and forth on this one, but I have to go based on this. And I'm going to be just brutally honest when I say this. And I know a lot of people are going to think like I sound biased or I'm crazy and whatnot, or that I'm a hater. I have to go with the Philadelphia 76ers at 3. What? Philadelphia 76ers? Like, how? Like, look at their team. They got Maxey. They just got Jaylen Brown. They got that kid in Edgecombe who's on the horizon and whatnot. They still got Embiid. Like, how could you say the Philadelphia 76ers and they got Nick Nurse and whatnot, and they just beat the Boston Celtics finally in the playoffs, come back 3-1 down. First of all, the Philadelphia 76ers have not made it to an Eastern Conference Finals, despite having Joel Embiid, despite him winning an MVP and having like a lot of successful regular seasons with him. They have not made it out of the second round at all, even with Joel Embiid. Time and time again, you've seen him get like so much help in the past. And I love Joel Embiid, but at the same time, too, he's also not getting any younger. His knees are literally like fucking jello. Like, I feel like I'm so surprised that his knee cartridges are still holding up still to this day. And I'm sorry, like at the end of the day, them trading for Jaylen Brown, like I don't even think they really even necessarily needed to trade it for Jaylen Brown. No, it is an upgrade comparing that to Paul George. Yes, I agree with that. But at the same time, too, like how many times have we seen Embiid? He had Jimmy Butler. He's had Maxey over the years. He got James Harden on his team, and he's had all these great players on his side, and then Tobias Harris and whatnot, like I mean, he's not like a great player and whatnot, but still, like you had so much talent over the years, and you can't make it out of the second round. You're always staying hurt. Like, what makes me think that like Jaylen Brown, despite the fact that he won a Finals MVP, he did all these. He had a lot of success in Boston, being the second option, sometimes even the number one option. But how is that like, but you could tell like there's a lot of baggage with Jaylen Brown right now. Like, we're not even sure if like Jaylen Brown, this could end up being a great thing, but it could also end up being a disaster. Maybe Jaylen Brown right now, like his head's like really not on straight. And like, it just feels like right now, like, he's not really, focusing on his game and rather more just like I'm sure he wanted out of Boston, but does he even want to even be in Philly? At the same time too, like I think he sees like the players of potential, but at the same time too, like he doesn't even like Joel Embiid, and now they have to be teammates. And now that just creates a tension of awkwardness and whatnot, and it's just like, dude, like what are we doing? And like Maxey's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Edge comes to good, like is on the rise as well, but I don't know. And like like don't get me wrong. When you look at the starting five, it might be one of the best starting fives on paper. You would have Tyrese Maxey, Edge come. Well, yeah. At the same time, too, like how would that work when it comes to like the starting five, right? So then what? You would have like Tyrese Maxey, Edge come. I guess Jaylen Brown, LeBron, and NBA. I guess that can kind of work, but like, what about your bench? And also at the same time, too, you're still gonna have to deal with the Knicks in your division. Boston's still gonna be a tough out, I think, as long as Tatum's healthy. Like there's still going to be a problem. And then the Toronto Raptors are on the come up, and hopefully that Kawhi Leonard trade can go through for the sake of their own satisfaction. But I'm sure it will. Like that's a tough division, and considering the fact that you have not made it out of the second round and you got bitch slapped by the New York Knicks, in the second round, like I don't know. Like as far as like contender, maybe you can make a conference finals. Maybe you could somehow make it to the finals. But let's just say you do make it to the finals. Are you going to be San Antonio or OKC? The two favorites right now coming out of the West. Like, and that's another thing. You traded. I wouldn't be surprised if it is like let's just say it's Sixers versus OKC next year's finals. Even with LeBron, bro, McCain. Like I don't even know why they traded McCain for. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off on his old team and whatnot. I just wouldn't like as far as like wanting to win another championship, and plus you'd be living in Philly, dude. Like what the fuck, like why live in Philly for? Like I'm not trying to shit on the city and whatnot, but you know what I mean? Like feel like you could do a lot better than Philly. Team might be great, but the Philly city itself, like the second team, and you know what? I'm gonna just be honest, because like I'm not even being biased because I said Golden State would be the worst attraction, and honestly, at number 2, you guys might be surprised, but Miami Heat, his second best attraction. It's not even the top attraction. It's a higher. Yeah, you would be living in Florida again, no state tax. You know what I mean? You'd be teaming up with Giannis. You'd be back together with your old coach Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley and whatnot. the division is not as tough compared to the division that the Sixers are in and whatnot, man. Like, Magic, like they can't seem to ever get out of the first round. Wizards are in rebuild mode. Hornets, I don't know what they're doing, especially since they traded LaMelo Ball and I forget, they traded another player as well. I forget his name, but like, they're making a lot of changes. And then, the Hawks, like, I mean, they're good, but like, they're not like, they're not anywhere like a contender. Like as it stands right now, like the Miami is definitely the favorites to win that division next year and to make it farther than all those teams. And if you add LeBron to that team, I mean, you got a pretty solid starting five. You'd have Davion Mitchell. You just signed Tim Hardaway. You would add LeBron, Giannis, and Bam. That's a good starting five. The problem is the bench is still kind of an issue. Like, I mean, you would have Andrew Wiggins as six-man, cool. But at the same time, too, like, you don't really have that much to offer after that. Like, I just hate the fact that, like, after we signed Tim Hardaway, Pat Riley just said, well, my work here is done. And, like, he's kind of just sitting and waiting and hoping that LeBron can make a decision and whatnot. Like, even with the decision of getting Giannis, that's cool and all. You still gave up quite a bit. Tyler Hero needed to go, and fuck Tyler Hero, by the way. But then I don't know, man, having to give up Hawkins and Khalil Ware as well. It's like, damn, dude, like that's tough. But, at the end of the day, I mean, if it means getting a top 5 player, the best two-way player in basketball, 2-time MVP, defensive player of the year, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's still fairly young. He's only 31 years old. It's not like he's like super old and whatnot. Like I'm all for it and whatnot. You know what I mean? And plus, like, like, also why I think favor Miami over Philly, even though Philly I think has more talent. I mean, at the end of the day, I trust Eric Spoelstra way more than I do Nick Nurse. Nothing against Nick Nurse. I think he's a good coach as well, but Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball. There's a reason why he's now the USA men's basketball coach. And I mean, he literally had carried, like he did more with less with that 2023 finals run. In fact, I think one of the teams he beat, was it 2023? I don't remember, but like I do remember there was a time when like they beat the Sixers even with Joel Embiid, and that was this infamous series where when Jimmy Butler was still in Miami, he had time. He went Tobias Harris over me, Tobias Harris over me. So, and then the last team, spoiler, but not really because I think it was kind of heading that direction anyways. But it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, coached by Kenny Atkinson. They had just came off a Eastern Conference Finals appearance. Finally, Mitchell got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and honestly, after everybody knew that they were probably going to lose to the Knicks and won. And the Knicks were the better team. That's why they won the championship. But once they lost Game 1, like the way that they did, like they didn't stand a chance of winning. Even if they won Game 1, I wouldn't even press the panic button on the Knicks to be like, oh my god, like are the Knicks in trouble? Like I'd be like, okay, well, as long as they win Game 2, like they're going to be fine the rest of the series and whatnot, and they didn't even have to worry about that because they came back winning Game 1 and then just sweeping them the rest of the series and whatnot. But I mean, you got a really good team, with Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, and then you got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley and whatnot. Like you got a lot of stars on this team. You have the highest payroll in basketball. You'd be going back to your hometown team and whatnot, where your fans would always welcome you back in open arms. Like this is where you finished, where you started, and like like I said, playoff Donovan Mitchell, excuse me, is one of the best like playoff performance. Yeah, at times he could be cold at times, but he's mostly consistent. I mean, James Harden's another story as well, but like at the same time too, like LeBron and Harden played together in the Olympics, so there's a little bit of chemistry there. And then you obviously got the two bigs and Mobley and Allen and whatnot. And I mean, yeah, like, if you look at that starting five with Mitchell, Harden, LeBron, Mobley, Allen, that's a really good starting five. And Kenny Atkinson, say all you want about him. He's still like, I feel like if you give him that lineup and then obviously with their bench and whatnot, like, I think they put themselves in a position to win. And obviously now with Giannis being gone in that division, no Giannis, the Bulls are a mess. The Pistons are probably like the only competition, but at the same time too, it's just like Cade and them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, the Pistons need to have like one more star to really pair up with Cade to be all like, okay, like that is a championship contending team. Like that team is capable of winning the championship. And so that happens, like, like I will favor the Cavs. And then, the Pacers right now, even though Halliburton's coming back healthy, there's just too many lingering questions with them. You know what I mean? And also the fact that they didn't have a first round pick, despite the fact they finished with one of the worst records basketball, really hurt them. I mean, you still got Siakam, you got Zubac now, you just signed Kelly Oubre. Like, they should still be a playoff team, but like, even if they didn't have LeBron heading into this next season, like I would still like the Cavs better than, like I would still favor the Cavs to win that division, even above Detroit, because like guess what? They beat them in a 7-game series. They dominated against them in Game 7. They came back from 0-2 down and handled business. That's why I told Bondi, I'm all like, bro, you're being too emotional right now, Bondi. Like, are you sure you want to do this bet? Like, I know you guys you just lost to the to the Cavs, in a hard fought series, but truth be told, like, the Pistons didn't look good themselves that last playoff series. He's like, no, I'm gonna bet you and I'm gonna win this bet, and then he ended up losing, Shout out Bonnie though. But yeah, I knew you were listening in. That's why I said it. I know you got the note he's on. Don't worry, like I know you've probably heard about the Kawhi shit too. Like Kawhi's don't worry, you're gonna get Kawhi. And that's another reason why I don't think he should go to the Sixers, because that out of all, like, yes, maybe that might be the most talented team that he'd be on. Because yeah, like Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, I really like Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, a former MVP, and when he's healthy, still one of the best players in basketball. Just that division, you still can't count on Boston. Obviously, the Knicks are the defending NBA champs. And then you got maybe Toronto, too, if they do end up getting Kawhi, which I think the trade will still happen. And then you got Scotty Barnes, who, is right now a top 15 to 20 player. He's starting to really look like he's starting to emerge, like, now from, like, all-star status to, like, almost borderline superstar status. So yeah, if I had to rank them, Warriors, 76ers, Heat, and Cavs. And ultimately, where I think he should end up is the Cavs. Finish where he started. I think he should avoid this Philly or the Warriors completely. Selfishly, I wouldn't mind if he's on the Warriors, but at the same time, too, I don't think, as if he wants to win another ring, like, I don't think that would be the right move. And then Miami would be dope. I think it would give him a shot, but he would have a better chance with Cleveland. I really do think he would have a better chance with Cleveland. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, regardless, it's his decision. And regardless, his legacy will not be ruined. He's still the best player of this century. He's still arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. And I hate, like it's not even a hot take anymore to even say LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. It's not. It's not. Like, his resume speaks for itself. I don't give a shit about the 4-6 finals record. You guys are taking that shit out of context sometimes, and I think it's really weird that you guys, that's the only argument you would bring up. It's the weirdest and most cringiest argument ever. So yeah, ultimately, LeBron should go to Cleveland, should avoid Golden State and Philly. Would be okay if he goes to Miami. Like, I'm not even just like saying that because, like, I got the Miami Heat emblem of Giannis and whatnot. No, I also like the Warriors. I live in the Bay Area. I would love to see LeBron again in person a couple times. But yeah, so how about like pretty much to end it like that? If he wants to entertain himself, and the most entertaining would be the Golden State Warriors. With him and Curry, that'd be fun. The best chance for him to win and the move that makes the most sense is the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you want more fun, but also having a chance to win still, him teaming up with Giannis would be cool. Like, if you still want to have fun, but also like win, but then if you want to avoid like drama, avoid the Sixers. Like, I don't know. It's just too many personalities, and with Jaylen Brown, Embiid, and whatnot, it would just be too much. So anyways, you guys, man, I'm like 25 minutes into this video. It's 5 o'clock here. I'm going to go ahead and like that. This has been your boy, Ash. Peace, and as always, go Raiders, go Yankees, and I'm out. Peace.